Long ago, people's understanding of heredity, or how traits are passed down from parents to offspring, was a little fuzzy. At the time, they believed the traits were blended together, so if you had a giant nose and your partner had a small nose, your child would have a medium nose. Of course, this isn't exactly right, but it was a reasonable explanation for the time period. Fortunately for us, the brilliant Austrian monk and scientist named Gregor Mendel came along. Gregor Mendel was fascinated by heredity. He conducted experiments in the mid-1800s using pea plants. Pea plants, as it turns out, come in many different forms. You've got pea plants with purple flowers, some with white flowers, some with green seeds, some with yellow seeds. Well, you get the idea. Mendel used all of this diversity within the pea plant to figure out some pretty neat genetic stuff, including the law of segregation, which is also referred to as Mendel's first law. Now, I know you're eager to hear all about this law, but you're going to need some background information first, so we'll have to come back to it. Mendel conducted numerous experiments, but let's hone in on one in particular so we can get some vocabulary cleared up. Mendel crossed a purple-flowered pea plant with a white-flowered pea plant, and all of the offspring were purple. That certainly didn't fit the blending ideas of the time, did it? But here's where it gets weird. When he crossed the purple-flowered offspring together, the next generation had purple and white-flowered plants. What? How in the world did purple-flowered pea plants produce white-flowered pea plants? A mystery. Today we know that traits like purple and white flowers are the result of different alleles, or different forms of a gene. Within your cells there is a bunch of DNA coiled up. This DNA has all of the written instructions on how to make you, well, you. If you were to check out your DNA, you'd see sections that have genes, and these genes tell your body to make a particular protein. Pea plants are the same. For example, pea plants have genes that tell the plant what color to make the flowers. Now, some pea plants have genes to say, make the flower purple, and some have genes that say, make the flower white. The different forms of these genes are called alleles. Back to our mystery. So how did those purple-flowered pea plants make white-flowered pea plants? Each pea plant has 2 alleles for flower color, 1 allele from each parent. In addition, there are 2 possibilities, or 2 alleles, for flower color in pea plants, purple and white. Scientists use letters to represent these alleles. Let's use an uppercase P for purple and a lowercase p for white. Here are the different combinations and consequent flower colors you'd get if those alleles came together. You can have uppercase P, which results in a purple flower. You can have uppercase p, which results in a purple flower. And you can have lowercase p, which results in a white flower. You may have noticed that whenever you have an uppercase P, the flower is purple. That is because the purple allele is dominant over the white allele. Scientists represent dominant alleles with a capital letter, hence the uppercase P. This means that it covers up or masks the white allele. The white flowers are recessive because they are covered up by the dominant allele. Recessive alleles are represented by lowercase letters, hence the lowercase p. So even though uppercase P, lowercase p is purple, it's carrying the allele for white flowers, and this is why 2 purple plants can produce white-flowered plants. Still confused? Don't worry, we'll explain further. Finally, we're here. Eggs and sperm are referred to as gametes, and gametes are produced during meiosis. Although we won't get into the details, know that meiosis is a process that halves the genetic information. Why would that need to happen, you ask? Well, if each egg and each sperm have half of the genetic information, then put them together and you have all the genetic information you need. The law of segregation means that during meiosis, each gamete will only receive 1 copy of the genetic material. Remember, the cells that aren't gametes have 2 copies, 1 from each parent. Let's say we had the pea plant with the alleles uppercase P, lowercase p. According to the law of segregation, 1 gamete would receive the uppercase P, which codes for purple flowers, and 1 gamete would receive the lowercase p, which codes for white flowers. Are you starting to see how 2 purple plants could produce a white-flowered plant? Let's finish up this lesson with how to apply the law of segregation and to show you exactly how 2 purple plants can produce a white-flowered plant. In that second generation, Mendel crossed 2 purple-flowered pea plants. Those pea plants carried the allele for white flowers, so each was uppercase P, lowercase p. Let's use a Punnett square, which is a tool to help you predict the genetic makeup of offspring. Remember, during meiosis, each allele goes into a different gamete, so you can separate them out and use the Punnett square to see what possible offspring you'd get. Step 1. Draw a box with 4 squares. Step 2. Segregate, or split up the alleles, just like in the law of segregation, and place them next to each box. Drop the alleles into the boxes, both vertically and horizontally. Now you can see you are left with several possibilities. There's a 25% chance your offspring will be purple with uppercase P, a 50% chance your offspring will be purple but carry the allele for white flowers or uppercase p, and a 25% chance your offspring will be white or lowercase p. So there you go. You just witnessed how purple flowered pea plants can magically produce a white flowered pea plant. Gregor Mendel reshaped the way scientists understood heredity, or how traits are passed down from generation to generation. He did so by studying pea plants and observing dominant and recessive traits. Although it appeared that some traits magically reappeared, it was just that some pea plants carried the recessive allele, or form of a gene. Mendel's first law, or the law of segregation, states that each allele for a trait will segregate, or separate, from its partner, so each gamete, or sex cell, will only have one copy of the genetic material. This works out nicely because we don't want offspring to have too many copies of anything. The law of segregation makes predicting offspring for pea plants pretty easy using Punnett squares.